month in the future, and then a day of that month. A date for what, my lord? That's not your concern. Just do it, now. Haman followed the astrologers down the stairs to their shadowy workroom. He watched as an apprentice readied the leather bag with 12 marked clay tiles, one for each month, then a second bag with 30 tiles to represent the days. Of course, the proper incantations had to be mumbled before they cast the lot, and Haman grew impatient as he listened to the chief sorcerer's gibberish. The tiles clicked like bones as the Magi shook the bag. He plunged his hand inside and drew one out. 12, my lord, he said, holding it up for Haman to see. The month of Adar. Haman nodded, his jaw clenched. Adar was 11 months away. He wanted to implement his plan now, not delay it for so long. But as he waited for the sorcerer to recite the second incantation and prepare to draw the lot to determine the day of the month, Haman decided that maybe the delay would be a good thing after all. It would provide plenty of time for his decree to reach every corner of the kingdom, all 127 provinces. Plenty of time for Haman to prepare for the execution of his enemies. Day after day, each time that stubborn Jew had refused to bow, Haman's fury had multiplied, until he decided not only to execute one man, but every Jew in the empire. Haman knew who Mordecai's people were, the enemies of his own race of Amalekites. The hatred they harbored for one another traced back to a mother's womb, where twin brothers had grappled for supremacy. The younger twin, Jacob, had stolen everything from Haman's ancestor, Esau, who was the older twin and rightful heir. It was time for Haman's people to rid the world of Jacob's descendants, the Jews, and take back what belonged to them. The sorcerer held up a second tile. The 13th day, my lord. Haman couldn't suppress his smile. His lucky number. Born on a 13th day, he had come to power on a 13th day. Yes, the 13th day of Adar would do very nicely. Thank you, he said with a nod, and strode from the workroom. Haman didn't bother going home to his bedchamber and his wife, Zeresh. He would never be able to sleep. Instead, he went to the king's council chamber and sat down to compose his edict. Even with the stars lining up in his favor, Haman needed to plan cautiously, choose his words wisely. Every Jew must die, young and old, men and women, children and infants. But Haman couldn't come right out and propose such a bold plan. He needed to use veiled suggestions and innuendos to guide the king into reaching that conclusion, leading him there the way a hunter uses carefully placed bait to lead his prey into a snare. When the chamberlains arrived after dawn, Haman ordered them to prepare the throne room, opening windows to let in the fresh spring air, lighting braziers to take the chill from the stone floor, arranging torches for light, plumping pillows and cushions. Everything must be perfect. Haman stood before a polished bronze mirror as he waited, composing his facial expression to show deep concern without a trace of the anticipation and elation he felt. In due time, King Xerxes arrived, ushered in by servants and pages to take his seat on his ivory throne. Your Majesty, may you live forever, Haman said, bowing low before him. When he rose again, Haman sat down in his seat at the king's right hand. I trust you rested well last night, Your Majesty. Xerxes gave an impatient wave as if to say that his sleep habits weren't important. What business must we accomplish this morning, Haman? How many petitioners? A room full of them, Your Majesty. But before we begin, may I speak to you in private about a matter of extreme concern to me? It has to do with the stability and peace of your entire kingdom. This sounds very serious. Of course you may speak. Haman waited as the pages and chamberlains scurried away, aware of the heavy thudding of his heart. It has come to my attention, Your Majesty.